Mondays are typically the worst day of the week for your average person. Are you watching this video? Then you're probably not your average person. I don't know what you're doing on a Monday other than looking for a nice clean slate to start the week. Because no matter what you did last week, what happens in my past stays in my past. You're only allowed to ask me about my future. No matter what you did, no matter what donkey line parlays you tried to lay out there yesterday, it all starts fresh on a Monday. But then again, I know somebody like you. You bet that Indian cricket in the middle of the night, and you're already somehow down, and you're panicking, looking to get back to even. So we'll try to find a couple ways to get you even. But what are you even doing on this Monday? You have so much to choose from. Like, I would imagine you might be watching Baker Mayfield, a potential MVP candidate, in a matchup of two NFC division-leading teams, the Detroit Lions and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's a premier matchup, right? No. You're watching this video because you want to talk about the cockroach Kraken and the Philadelphia Flyers, because I have some things to talk about in that game. But before we get to that game, I have a couple news items here. I have one good news item, one medium news item, and one bad news item. Should we start good or should we start bad? Let's start with the good egg on the Willy Wonka scale. And that is, over the weekend, on Friday, I sent you into the weekend with some of those 2-point plus assist parlays, where we took a forward for 2 points with a defenseman for an assist, and 2 of those 4 plays hit, and it was minimum plus 300 odds on all those. So that was great. You saw that heading into your weekend, so now that's in the back of your head. And I know it's in the back of your head because I even got tagged on Twitter last night. Somebody played the 2 points for Pasternak with the Charlie McAvoy assist. So that's good to see. That's a good news item. Now, the medium news is I opened up Friday's show talking about how it was a sad day for the Bet365 users across Canada and in the states where it's legal in the U.S. because they did something that DraftKings users, Fanduel users, and many other users dealt with last season, and that's the neutering of point prop parlay odds. They did the first slice that you saw. The first Bet365 slice occurred last week. Not only a few hours after that video, I almost had a semi-chuckle on. I already described how DraftKings neutered the odds, not once last November, but twice before playoffs. Well, the reference I use is there's no way after just such I'm talking about an absurd nuking before the playoffs. You can't, even the U.S. only dropped those 2 atomic bombs. No way they were dropping the third nuke, and they did. I don't know what city got it, but the one I live in did. DraftKings dropped a third nuclear bomb on the point parlay odds. And the reason this qualifies as medium news is because I was like, this is ridiculous. You always have to, something has to be done. So I thought that from what I've seen in my time, the only way you're going to get any sort of acknowledgement or anything of that nature is by bringing some bad PR towards that company, just so they have to say something. Because I just want some sort of we're dirtbag. I don't mind if anyone's a dirtbag in life, as long as they go, no, that was me. I did a dirtbag move. Oh, all right, yeah, dirtbag. I know a bunch of dirtbag. But it's when they try to hide behind, no, we do fair and fun and great practices here. We would never do something like that. So what I did was I made a screen recording.
You can't possibly want a screen recording clearly displaying how you're screwing over some customers. You would never want something like that out there. So let's just bet hockey on a Friday night. I saw some of your commercials. I'm excited to bet some hockey on a Friday night. So let's go to this Blackhawks-Canucks game. There's no way on a Friday night game if I take Teuvo Teravainen for 2 points, a nice young Finnish man at plus 475. No chance in hell that I'll add Tyler Bertuzzi for another point for plus 110 and the odds go down, right? There must be a mistake. You obviously want to patch this up, right? I mean, you don't want somebody having a video that clearly shows that you screw them over with the odds online, right?
And I asked the people on the Patreon, because they're obviously livid, like, oh, God, no. I mean, you know, they're in a constant state of panic at all times. They could have the best night of the year, but I need the last home run. So I told them, I'm going to make this post, and the only way we even have a slight chance of it being seen is if it gets a bunch of action, comments, retweets, because then, you know, DraftKings support keeps getting tagged. And we smacked them enough times where they responded. DraftKings responded to the nuking, admitting it should not be that way because it got so crazy. In the screen recording, I showed 2 points for Teuvo Teravainen, and if you add a completely different player for another point, it made the odds go down. And that clearly shouldn't be the case, despite the fact that I don't know who these people are. You know, you people would probably call them paid shills by the sportsbook. But they were saying, yeah, of course that happens. Yeah, you're right. Of course, when you take a plus 400 and then you add another point to that, of course it's going to reduce the odds. Of course, that's a standard practice. How do you not expect that? Anyway, DraftKings responded saying it should not be like that, and it has been escalated. Now, do I have any hope that anything will happen? No, not at all. But I can sleep at night knowing, all right, you tried screwing us, and you admitted it shouldn't be like that. Now, you're never going to do anything. But I'm happy to know we got some sort of acknowledgement. We started with some acknowledgement, and let's see if we can rise to the top, albeit maybe for a short time like WCW, because that brings me to the bad news. And I'm not thrilled about this whatsoever. You know, especially this is for all you new Patreon subscribers from the beginning of the year. It's been a very, very turbulent start to this season with the line combos. Now, I don't want to say it's very unexpected, like, you know, early season was when it was slowest, because obviously it makes sense, right? You have teams tinkering with lines. You're seeing who has the best chemistry. So you have a lot of line juggling in the middle of the game. But don't you worry, child, because Andy's got a sniff for you. And that brings me to some Monday NHL Sniffs, because I know we have some good football games on, but I know when you guys come to this channel, you're looking for some NHL Sniffs, and I have a responsibility to deliver some NHL Sniffs. And I'm going to do the same exact things that I always do. I'm going to show you some good point prop values. We've seen ones that we liked already. We've seen the fastball turn into both of these players having 1.5 lines on this very slate at home against the Buffalo Sabres. So they're playing the Sabres, who now have back-to-back wins. Here's what I'll tell you about Montreal. Yeah, it's exciting. You know what they are? They're a roller hockey team. Roller hockey teams, you love watching them. They're exciting. They score goals. They take a quick lead against a team like the New York Rangers, who hasn't scored a goal in years. And the Rangers rip off 4 straight. Wait a minute. Because when you play roller hockey like the Devils, that's ultimately what can happen. Albeit, we need excitement. We need excitement around the NHL because it has been so many slogfest, 2-1, 3-2, so few overs, and unders are death to the line combos, which is why they've been struggling so much. You know, you have a 1-0 and all those good players with Anaheim and Chicago last night. 1-0 with 30 seconds left. A lot of rust out there. But with the Montreal Canadiens, they bring some ruckus to the party. They allow ruckus and they brings the ruckus. And I'm hoping that is the case here, because you're talking about a previous Scam 5 member in the Sabres where, you know, they would score and they would concede and they'd get in some crazy games. And they came through for us a bunch when they played the Senators. Now they're playing the Montreal Canadiens. You show me a top-line guy on the Buffalo Sabres, you're showing me him at plus money, and you're telling me he's on the top power play, he's playing with Tage Thompson, then I'm going to take his point prop. This player's not a great player, but he's put in a situation where, oops, it's off my ass, and it's in the net, I get an assist. And maybe I'm looking for one of those. I'm talking about Z.Benson playing on the top line with Tage Thompson and Yuri Kulik. It's not a star-studded line whatsoever. You could honestly call that the second line. But you have Benson playing with Tage on the top line and on the power play. That power play connected in the last game. And I'm going to take Z.Benson, albeit he's not the best player, but coming in at a plus 110, for a little point parlay there. Yeah, I put him with Tage Thompson, but that's only putting a plus 180. So give me the assist for Rasmus Dahlin. That's the beautiful thing about when you take one of these plus 110 guys. Yeah, if you have David Pastrnak, you're going to have to do the over 1.5 points with the assist for the defenseman. But here, because he's already a plus 110, we're going to get a good enough price taking Z.Benson for a point and Rasmus Dahlin for an assist. But now let's go to Philadelphia. I mean, nothing's more exciting. Who needs to watch that Monday Night Football premier NFC matchup when you can watch the Seattle Cockroach Kraken take on the Philadelphia Flyers? Now, I'm going to tell you what my one worry is as I hold up two fingers, even though I'm saying one worry. I'm worried about this being a crusty, low-scoring game. It doesn't matter how many seasons go by. I just affiliate the Cockroach Kraken with 3-1 and then maybe an empty netter games. But for whatever reason, they be scoring and they be conceding. This is a couple straight games. They've put in 3. They let in more than 3. And in this game against the Philadelphia Flyers, I'm hoping these teams brings the ruckus, because I got a guy on each team who's showing a great value, and I have to take the value and just say, I know it's early in the season. Can some pucks start going in the net? So while I'm a little worried of this being a low-scoring game, I can't turn down these good values. And the first one on the Cockroach Kraken side, Shane Wright. Not much his rookie year. In the back half of last season, started to become more heavily involved. And now he's on a nice little point streak here. He's got 4 points in his last 3 games. And maybe they found a little something on that line with him and Mason Marchment. His point prop coming in at a nice plus 140. I mean, that is an incredible price for a highly skilled guy on a team where, let's be honest, do you think they have a top line, a second line, a third line? It's just random lines. There's the same amount of talent on every single one of those lines. And there's no premier talent on any of them, to be honest with you. But you mean to tell me that this Mason Marchment, Shane Wright line has less of a chance in scoring than the McCann line with Eberle and Beniers? I think they're just as likely. And on the road, they're more likely to get the better matchups. On the road, those secondary and tertiary, always a funny word, lines get the better matchups, because the top line is usually matched up against the home team's checking line, because they have last change and they can get the defensive pairings they want. So Wright got 4 points in his last 3, is looking solid for a point at plus 140 or 145. And then it's a simple pairing. Him, Mason Marchment on the same line, on the same power play, plus 320 right there. How do you like it? It's that easy. The only thing we need is some goals in this game.
Oh, yes.
Then on the other side, a guy I brought up over the weekend, I said, well, I don't think I've ever seen a power play defenseman never show up for seasons on end in the NHL. And, you know, I complain to DraftKings. They respond. I say this up into the sky. The world responds. Here he is. And I feel like, hey, another thing. On Friday, do you remember when I said with that Sharks game, I was like, you know, if you happen to find it, I bet you there will be a Dmitry Orlov point if you find it at like plus 200 if they offer it. Why? Because he's just a guy sitting on the back by the blue line playing power play 1 defenseman. What does he do? Oh, yeah, take the puck over there. Okay, Celebrini, Skinner, you score. That's nice. Free point for Orlov. It's why I'll always look for great point prop values for power play defensemen. You've seen me stick you with some good ones in the past here. Jamie Drysdale, power play 1 defenseman for the Philadelphia Flyers. I'm going to take a crack at him. Point plus 180. And then I give you one of these good values, and what do? Try to find a little point prop combo. Give me the best player, Travis Konechny, 2 points, and an assist for Jamie Drysdale. To be honest with you, I could run a whole tutorial on this game because there are so many combos that are valid and that are available. I just mentioned that top line of the Seattle Kraken. Why don't we do one of those big slicks with it? Now, I'm not saying do these. I'm just showing you, like, this is what I'm going to offer on the spreadsheet for this game. I'm going to go with the 2 points for McCann, the best player on the line. The guy who's most likely to defer and not shoot, which is Eberle, for an assist. And then Matty Beniers for a point. That's around plus 700. We already have, like I had mentioned, the Mason Marchment, Shane Wright point prop combo. You have the top line of the Philadelphia Flyers, Konechny, Couturier, Michkov, that's over plus 300. You have the second line of the Flyers, Brink, Cates, Forster. So many high-priced, great combos in this game. Can we hit 2 and then that just clears us for all of them? That's what I'm hoping for. Can we have some hidden ruckus? My first thought is, oh, there aren't going to be a ton of goals, but sometimes you think you know, but you don't know. So I'm hoping we get some goals in here, because if we do, we could really enjoy the fruits of these sniffs.
I heard a ruckus.
And then the last game I want to talk about is just some straight up hockey. I think you'll enjoy that. You got your point prop combos. You've continued to learn that and everything that's going on. But let's just talk about a game that it's the closest you can possibly get theoretically to a real hockey game, which we won't see for about, 6-7 months. But you're talking about two Stanley Cup favorite type of teams in the Vegas Golden Knights, who are ripping off wins, and then the Carolina Hurricanes, who haven't lost yet. Now, you would think, look at Vegas pouring in all these goals. Look at Carolina playing. I mean, they're scoring their fair share of goals as well. I look at this line and I see a 6.5. My thought is to go under. And why is that? Because you're not playing the Anaheim Ducks anymore if you're the Vegas Golden Knights. You're not playing these teams who are just going to kind of roll over and are inexperienced. You're playing, albeit without Jacob Slavin, a Carolina Hurricanes team who has been playing great in all facets of the game. But most importantly, that damn penalty kill of theirs, which is number one every single year, can mitigate the best power plays around the league, except for the old Rangers power play, who just scores at will for whatever reason on them. However, in this game against the Vegas Golden Knights, this Vegas power play has been so beyond nasty. A 5-forward power play, but if there's a team that's going to disrupt it, it's going to be the Carolina Hurricanes. And then you could get into some clenched ass cheeks hockey, but it's so early in the season. It could absolutely be a high scoring game, but I'm going to go with the under 6.5 in this game. And if I have to take somebody to pair with that, because you're a plus money, or I'm not listening, plus money, or I'm leaving, I'm going to go with the under half of a point for Andrei Svechnikov, although he's a player I absolutely like. He's not being utilized properly at the moment. He's just kind of a weird odd man out, and I understand the dilemma Brind'Amour is in, because the top line is playing very well, although Ehlers is, the curious case of how, I know I keep posting about this, the odds of Aho having like 6 points, Jarvis having 7 points, and Ehlers having 0 points, despite being on the same line and the same power play. Like if somebody is bringing a full PowerPoint case against the line combos, they're starting with Nikolai Ehlers, who just has nothing every single game. So he's blown up every combo with that top line for Carolina. But going back to what I was saying about Svechnikov, you have that second line with great chemistry. It's like full Carolina hockey. Taylor Hall, Logan Stankoven, and Jackson Blake. So then that just kind of leaves Svechnikov, what the hell? They just stuck him on line 4, saying to just make those guys good down there. So if he's getting some reduced playing time and is on power play 2, then he's the under half of a point. I'm going to stick with that under 6.5. So that's what I'm going to go with in that game. I'm looking forward to watching that game. I want to see how much these two teams bring it. I feel like they're going to want to win that game. These are two teams really with some steam to kick off the season. Obviously, Carolina, the last undefeated team left, and then Vegas scoring a ton of goals. I'm looking forward to this one. So maybe, get those screens up there. Get the Monday Night Football matchups, then get the cockroaches, and then you can end with some Vegas, Carolina. I will definitely be watching that one. I hope you will be too, just the same way you were watching this video. That is what I have for you here on a Monday. Good luck to you. That's going to fix things up here. Better luck to me. Make sure you're subscribed here to my YouTube channel if you're enjoying these videos, you're enjoying my content. I'm enjoying, if you're enjoying, that I'm enjoying. I don't know. Anyway, do me a favor. If you are enjoying these videos, let's do the fair trade here. We need some good sports betting karma. I want some good sports betting karma to kick off this week, because I'm asking for goals in a cockroach Flyers game. So how can we get a goal in that game? Did you like that? Yep, now we're up to 1-0. Did you comment? Now it's 1-1. Did you subscribe? 2-1. Click the notifications, 2-2. You hit the hype button, it's 3-2. Look, we're already now building towards the over. All right, you do all that stuff? Good. I will see you tomorrow for the next round of NHL Sniffs. Take it easy.